Hello, everybody. Welcome to my booktube channel, Marlicia's Meanderings. I am Marlicia, also known as Marlicia Muses, and today I'm going to do the third part of my rather large book haul. And this one is a Christian Catholic book haul. I've got quite a few books this time around, so I want to get right to it. Today I'm going to start with a little book by a friend of mine. She's a member of my Holy Family Institute that I'm involved with, and it's called 1 Hour for My Priest. And this is for praying for a specific priest for their vocation, for the safety of their spirituality, to keep them safe in all that they have to do. I haven't really looked at this yet, but I'm looking forward to it, and it's meant to be done during a holy hour. So a holy hour visit to the Blessed Sacrament with Jesus. Okay, so that's my first one. I'm looking forward to reading that. The next one is by Father Mitch Pacwa, and it's called Commentary on the Book of Isaiah. And I got this book because Faith, I think from Faith and Books is her channel. She said that she was going to be doing the book of Isaiah, and Faith, you can correct me if I'm wrong, from October through December for their theology book club. And that is right along the time of Advent. And I thought that would be a really good way to prepare for Christmas. So I will start in October and just go through all the way through December, through the end of December. Yes, that goes into Christmas, but this would be a really good preparation, I think. And so I'm looking forward to this. This is put out by Tan Books, and this one here was put out by our Sunday Visitor. Okay. Trying to see if I can find the place to put these where I'm not going to trip over them. The next one I got, this book I got a while back. I talked about a series of books that were conversion stories. They were, let me see what's the name of one of them. I'm going to draw a complete blank, I'm sure, but they all referenced Medjugorje, okay? They were conversion stories, and they mentioned Medjugorje, which I've always been rather hesitant about accepting the appearances of Blessed Virgin Mary at Medjugorje. The conversion stories made me rethink, and so I saw this book come up. It's called My Heart Will Triumph by Mariana Soldo. She's one of the visionaries, and I'm interested in seeing what she has to say about what's going on in Medjugorje. I think it's still going on, actually, and Mary's messages. And I think this will be a very interesting read. I'm not sure when I will start it. I'm not sure I'll be able to get it started before the end of the year, but if not, it'll be a good start to the beginning of the new year. See if that changes my mind. Now, I like to get books that will help me when I'm doing Catholic books, either saint books or conversion stories or Bible studies, things that will help me move forward in my faith journey. So this one is by Father Timothy Gallagher, and it's a biblical way of praying the Mass. And this is put out by EWTN, the Eternal World Network, established by Mother Angelica. And it looks like it will be an easy read. I like Father Gallagher. He's very, very good. So I'm looking forward to this as well. And then this book is by Henry G. Graham. It's called Where We Got the Bible, Our Debt to the Catholic Church. And this is put out by Catholic Answers Press. So this will be interesting to see how they put the Bible together. I did a small little presentation to the patricians in our church about where we got the Bible. I wish I'd had this book at the time, but I didn't. So I'm looking forward to reading this. Now, I had mentioned earlier that I had ordered when Pope Francis, Pope Leo the 14th was elected, that I didn't want to make the same mistake with him that I made with Pope Francis. I didn't know anything about Pope Francis even after his pontificate was ended, and I had to go looking at things because he confused me. And so my spiritual director suggested I read a book on him, a biography, which I did. It was an autobiography, actually. So this time when Pope Leo the 14th got elected, I decided to try and get a jump on things. And the first book came in, I showed it when it came in. This one I've been waiting on for over a month and a half, I think, and it's called When the White Smoke Clears, A Guide to Pope Leo the 14th's Early Days. And this is written by Father Mike Schmitz, Jeff Cavins, and other trusted voices. And it's put out by Ascension Press. This is our first American Pope. I'm really interested in this. Yes, I know that South America claims him too. But I'm looking forward to this, reading this. This is another one by Father Timothy Gallagher, Meditation and Contemplation, an Ignatian Guide to Praying with the Scriptures. I have a hard time sometimes actually praying with the Scriptures. I can read them. I can think about them. I'm not sure how to pray with them. So I thought this would be really interesting to read, to see. The Holy Family Institute and the Pauline family is heavily indebted to Ignatius. Blessed Alberione was very much influenced by the Ignatian spirituality. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this has to say. I know I'm going right through. I'm going through this very quickly because I still have this many books. I don't want to keep you here longer than I have to. This was also by Timothy Gallagher, and it's the Examine Prayer, Ignatian Wisdom for Our Lives Today. Examine prayer is how we examine our consciences either at night or before we go to sacramental confession. And this will be very, very helpful, I think, in telling us what to hit, what points to hit when we're examining our conscience. Also, something that people don't realize, even Catholics, is that when you do an examine, it's not just the things you've done wrong, it's the things you've done right and all the gifts you've received. And it's really important to have that two-pronged approach, not just the ways that you fell, but the ways that, with God's help, you succeeded. And I think this will be a very interesting book. Now, the next two are books that were put out on the Psalms. That's Old Testament books, for those of you who aren't Christian. Old Testament books in the Bible. It's an Old Testament book. And the first one was done by Pope St. John Paul II, Psalms and Canticles, Meditations and Catechesis on the Psalms and Canticles of Morning Prayer. Morning prayer refers to the liturgical prayer of the Church, Liturgy of the Hours. So this is the first book, and he didn't finish the second. Pope John Paul II did not finish the second book before he passed away. So Pope Benedict the 16th, he finished it, the second book. So this is Psalms and Canticles. I think it's for evening prayer. Yes, for evening prayer. Also, this is part of the Liturgy of the Hours. And the Psalms are amazing. They're poetry. They're very musical. They touch on every part of your life. And I think this would be very, very helpful in my spiritual journey, and anybody's spiritual journey. My last three books, are by Scott Hahn. And Scott Hahn was a convert, and he now is one of our leading theologians in the church. And Ty and I both really love his work, him and his wife, Kimberly. So I have, the first one I'm going to talk about is Swear to God, the Promise and the Power of the Sacraments. Okay, we have 7 sacraments in the Catholic Church, and this is talking about the power of the sacraments. The next book that I picked up by Scott Hahn is called Consuming the Word, okay? The New Testament and the Eucharist in the early church. So this is not just talking about Holy Eucharist, but also, the Word, Jesus. So, which is, of course, the Eucharist, but he is the Word. So you got the Gospel, and this will be very, very interesting. The last book by Scott Hahn is Covenant and Communion. He's really big on covenant. So anyone who's interested in covenant, this might be a really good book for them. The Biblical Theology of Pope Benedict XVI. I'd never heard of the Biblical Theology of Benedict XVI, so I'm looking forward to reading this. So that's my Catholic Christian book haul for today. Very heavily faith-filled, but I did warn you. I hope you found something that you might enjoy or that might spark your interest, even if you're not Catholic or Christian. Uh, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. I thank you for spending a little time meandering with me, and I hope to see you here next time I record. God bless and have a wonderful day.